Have you ever noticed how some people seem to possess a quiet, almost supernatural influence over their surroundings? They don't shout, they don't beg, they simply pull back, and suddenly everything shifts. The energy in the room changes. People become uncertain, curious, even desperate. Now imagine if you did the same. What would happen if you stopped reacting to everything right away? What if you chose silence over knee-jerk responses, retreat over confrontation? That's where the transformation begins. The moment you stop being constantly available, emotionally, physically, mentally, the dynamic shifts. People are used to managing you through your reactivity, through your predictability. But when you step back, the game changes. Those who thought they knew you, they begin to realize they never did. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." So consider this. When you become less accessible, who starts to panic? Who gets irritated? Who tries to provoke you just to get some kind of emotional reaction? Their response reveals more about them than it does about you. More importantly, it shows just how much of your energy you've been handing out without realizing it. You keep giving, saying yes, keeping the peace, trying not to lose people who were never truly with you to begin with. And every time you say yes when you meant no, every time you react without thinking, you give a little piece of yourself away, until all that's left is exhaustion, frustration, and a deep emptiness you can't explain. Why? Because you've been too available to people who don't even deserve a moment of your silence. This isn't about turning your back on the world. It's about choosing yourself. It's about individuation. Jung's concept of becoming whole, authentic, complete, and that journey begins when you realize silence can be more powerful than 1,000 words. Withdrawal, when done with intention, not as an escape, is strength. So I ask you, how long will you keep letting others pull your strings? How long will you react on command, like a puppet, every time someone touches an old wound? Maybe it's time to pull those strings yourself, to become a mystery. Because when you stop being available, everything around you changes. From childhood, we are conditioned to be available, to respond fast, to be agreeable, to say yes even when everything inside us screams no. But here's a truth most people never tell you. Being overly available is not a virtue, it's a trap. The more accessible you are, the more drained, manipulated, and discarded you become. Predictability breeds utility. People start to treat you like a human vending machine for attention, validation, emotional comfort. They push a button and expect you to deliver. But being always present for others will never guarantee that anyone will be present for you. Jung spoke of the persona, the mask we wear to gain acceptance and love. And this mask, it's what keeps you overextended. You say, "It's fine" when you're suffocating. You reply to messages when you're exhausted. You explain, defend, justify yourself, as if you owe the world your constant presence. But the more you center your life around others, the more you vanish from your own. Being perpetually available is self-abandonment dressed as compassion. It's how we seek approval, dodge rejection, control how others see us, and that control costs you peace. Here's the harsh truth. People who demand constant access to you don't want you. They want what you offer: comfort, entertainment, validation. But when you change, when you set a boundary, they'll say you're difficult, distant, even cold, not because you've changed, but because you've stopped serving their needs. The more available you are, the less you're valued. What's too abundant becomes disposable. What's too easy to reach loses its worth. So stop and ask yourself, who actually deserves your time, your energy, your attention? Or better yet, who truly deserves your absence? But before you can answer that, you have to ask, why do I react so much? Why do I give in so quickly? The answer lies in something Jung called psychic energy, and that's what we'll explore next. Because your energy is your essence, and if you don't learn how to guard it, someone will use it against you. Jung didn't see the human psyche as an empty machine reacting without consequence. He believed our minds operate like energy systems. Every thought, every emotion, every action costs us energy. So the question becomes, are you choosing where your energy goes, or is the world choosing for you? Each time you react impulsively, defend against meaningless criticism, argue to prove a point, engage in pointless conversations, you're burning through your reserves, trying to please people who don't value you. That's psychic bankruptcy. As Jung said, what you resist not only persists, but grows stronger. The more you react, the more you remain entangled. Exhaustion doesn't mean weakness, it means misdirected energy. And when you're exhausted, you become vulnerable. Easy prey for manipulators, for emotional parasites, for those who sense you don't know how to say no. True strength is not in constant response, it's in discernment. It's in knowing when and how to act, because you've taken the time to understand your own triggers. Ever stayed up all night replaying a conversation, obsessing over what you should have said, wondering why someone treated you the way they did? That's psychic energy bleeding out. Your energy, when protected, becomes presence, the kind that commands a room without a word. But when scattered, you become invisible, reactive, weak. The world does not spare those who hand over their power willingly. Start observing. What triggers you? What pulls you out of alignment? Those are the leaks. That's where the work begins. Not to become cold, but to become sovereign. One of Jung's deepest insights? When you protect your energy, you break the projections people place on you, and that makes them uncomfortable. Why? Because it threatens the roles they cast you in. Next, we'll dive into the realm of silent manipulation. How your availability makes you a canvas for others' projections, and how stepping back completely disarms the game. Because here's the dark truth. Most of your emotional reactions aren't truly yours. They're programmed. And people who understand that use it. They don't scream or fight. They push buttons you didn't know were exposed. They manipulate through guilt, expectation, silence. And the more emotionally available you are, the easier their job becomes. You've seen it. The friend who only calls when they're falling apart. The partner who only praises you when you serve their needs. The coworker who suddenly adores you right before asking for something. They're not connecting with you. They're connecting with the idea of you, the role you've unconsciously agreed to play. And why do you accept that role? Because you're scared of disappointing, of being unloved, of being left. But real manipulation doesn't happen loudly. It hides in the guilt, in the belief that you must always be available, helpful, understanding, even when it's destroying you. The manipulator doesn't need to control you. They only need you to keep reacting the same way. But when you stop reacting, the whole system collapses. Say no, go quiet, walk away. When you stop feeding the narrative, their mask falls off. And then they panic, because now they don't know who you are. And worse, they're forced to confront who they are. That's the power of unavailability. It forces others to sit with their own noise. Cue the backlash, accusations, drama, blame, not because you're wrong, but because you've stopped being useful as a mirror. As Jung said, we do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Your withdrawal forces others to face their own shadow. Are you ready for that? Are you prepared to be misunderstood, rejected, even hated for choosing yourself? Because it's in that silence, that sacred distance, where real power is born. Next, we'll explore why silence is one of the most powerful psychological weapons and how it changes everything. The world is loud. Everyone wants to talk, debate, prove a point, even if it costs them their peace. But silence, conscious, intentional, precise silence, that's rare, that's power. Silence isn't absence, it's amplified presence. Jung saw silence as fertile ground, where transformation begins. When you stop reacting, you start observing, and when you observe, you notice what was invisible before. Patterns, manipulation, self-sabotage cycles. Silence brings clarity, and clarity terrifies those who rely on your confusion. Ever notice how people freak out when you don't reply, don't explain, don't show up like you used to? It's not because they miss you. It's because your silence strips away their control. While you speak, you're still in the game. When you go quiet, you rewrite the rules. Jung believed individuation, the journey to become your truest self, requires distance. Only in silence can you hear your own voice. But don't mistake silence for escape. It has a cost. You'll lose people, you'll be called distant, cold, arrogant, but that says more about them than it does about you. As you grow, you speak less, because you realize not everyone deserves access to your truth. Every sentence is energy, every word an investment. Sometimes silence isn't withdrawal, it's sovereignty. It's how you reclaim your energy, reconnect with your essence, and rebuild not from approval, but from authenticity. In the next part, we'll look at how to stop wasting energy, how to become selective with your soul, and how to truly choose yourself. If this message is resonating with you, leave a comment. I choose my peace. Let's see how many of us are finally ready to become unavailable, so we can finally become free.